Were you born with water on the brain? So was Krull! Krull is a 1983 fantasy film full of adventure, romance, and plot contrivances. I've never actually seen Krull before, but there were certain scenes that made me feel like I had. I felt like the entire time I was being hypnotized by this movie into thinking one of my fever dreams was real. I also want to preface this by telling you that I had to be reading the Google Wiki page the entire movie just to understand what was actually happening, because no one explains anything in this movie, and you just have to accept and understand completely to be able to keep up, and let me tell you, you won't be able to. We open in outer space with a fidget spinner and an epic title card. There's like a 3-minute long sequence of this giant rock spaceship in outer space, and then it lands on a planet. We then get a narration telling us that many worlds have been enslaved and captured by these alien guys called the Slayers, ruled by the Beast.
Many worlds have been enslaved by the Beast and his army, the Slayers.
We're all supposed to think it's very scary, but like, all they show us are these little guys baton twirling.
Guys, you wanna go scaring?
So this narration guy also tells us that they are enslaving the planet Krull, which is where this movie takes place. Then he tells us that there is a prophecy
That a girl of ancient name shall become queen, that she shall choose a king, and that together they shall rule our world, and that their son shall rule the galaxy.
which isn't really a prophecy as much as it's like basic logic. Like, minus the galaxy part, I'm pretty sure that's just how monarchies work. This is where we're introduced to Lissa. Then her father comes to talk to her, and she's worried that Colwyn hasn't come to her yet.
Colwyn should have been here by now.
Her father tells her that he might take a minute to get to her because all of the roads and passages are owned by the Slayers. They talk to each other in a hilarious exposition dump about how she needs to marry Colwyn to form an alliance against the Slayers. But the father character isn't too happy about that because they are ancient enemies. But the female character, whose name I still don't know, tells her dad that she wants to marry Colwyn because he's a great fighter.
Colwyn is a great fighter.
Good fighters make bad husbands.
So Colwyn, oh my gosh, I can't say his name. It's difficult. I'm just gonna call him Sea Daddy. So Sea Daddy and his father arrive at Princess Lissa's palace, and here we meet the main protagonist, Sea Daddy. And there's a scene where Lissa is looking lovingly into Sea Daddy's eyes and says,
I've chosen well.
but Sea Daddy, being the alpha male Chad that he is, looks down at her tits and then responds to her.
So have I.
Yeah, Lissa, your dad might have been right on this one. They talk about nothing, and then Sea Daddy Chatty goes in for a kiss. Man, this movie skips the appetizer and goes right in for the dessert on this one. That night at moonrise, we see the bride and groom being led to each other, and is that Sarah from Labyrinth? And then they start their terrifying marriage ceremony. I'm not gonna lie, I am a sucker for wedding ceremonies that take place in different fantasy settings. Like, give me that yin and yang representation with water and fire. I love this shiz. All the while, we see the Slayers making a terrifying approach towards the castle. The pair are just about to finish their vows when boom! Blast! Lasers! The castle is invaded by Slayers! Sea Daddy Chatty tells his bride to leave, cause like, I don't know, he can fight better without her or something. Lissa leaves and everyone tries to fight off the Slayers, and what the fuck was that? Oh, what is this movie rated? I don't think I'm old enough to be watching this. I want to mention that the weapons everyone uses are like lightning swords. I don't know what they are, but they also make a sound from, you know, that other famous space movie. You know the one. Also, everyone is in armor as well as the Slayers, and they definitely can't see where they're going. They'll just stumble around or walk really slowly, and it's hilarious because this is supposed to be like a fight for their lives. If I were on this set, you would find me blindly flailing around like a spider and just hoping for the best. Like, real life button mashing here. So in this battle, Lissa gets taken by the Slayer guys, and Sea Daddy attempts to rescue her by just standing and watching her getting taken. Sea Daddy, while watching Lissa getting taken from him, also watches his dad die. His dad dying doesn't have any bearing on the plot, and, you know, we just kind of forget about him like the movie did. Sea Daddy gets shot in the shoulder by a laser sword and passes out for a couple of hours. Luckily, some strange man who wasn't in the battle puts peanut butter on his wound, causing Sea Daddy to wake up calling for Lissa.
Who are you?
I'm the narrator. A narrator. His name is just gonna be the narrator, because that's basically what he is throughout this entire movie. So narrator tells Sea Daddy that Lissa has been taken to the Slayer's headquarters, where Sea Daddy will meet the beast. Sea Daddy is upset about losing his bride and father all in one night, but then the narrator bullies him into moving the plot forward.
I came to find a king. And I find a boy instead.
The narrator tells Sea Daddy that he'll need more than just men and swords, he'll need the power of the glaive. Narrator tells Sea Daddy that the glaive is a very powerful weapon and needs to be retrieved so that Sea Daddy can rescue Lissa. Why they need this thing? I have no idea. Where is this thing? In the highest mountain. Obviously. How else are we gonna get these glamour shots of Sea Daddy's ass? Also, what's the record for the longest mountain climbing scene in a movie? Because Krull either holds that title or is coming for it. So Sea Daddy makes it to the top of the mountain and finds the glaive, but it's really just a fidget spinner for a rich kid. Then we cut to Lissa in an eyeball or something. I'm not sure if they were trying to represent her being in the clutches of the beast, or if they were trying to make a prison and just wanted an interesting shot, but I like it. I think it's kind of cool, actually. We find out that Lissa was taken to be the bride of the beast, meaning that the beast wants his child to be the ruler of the galaxy. Yeah, from that prophecy we all forgot about. But just as we finally get to see Lissa again, we cut back to Sea Daddy and narrator. He tells Sea Daddy that the headquarters of the beast move every night so that they don't actually know where to find it. Sea Daddy gets angry at this, and narrator tells him that he doesn't have any manners.
There are kingly virtues other than bravery. Courtesy is one of them.
They travel to a pond where narrator tends to Colwyn's wounds, and they are peacefully going about their business when a red glowing sphere shoots into the pond. I think the sphere is supposed to be like this human being or something. Colwyn laughs at him for freaking out about landing in a pond, so the guy tries to turn him into a bat. Then he accidentally turns himself into a goose. He turns himself back into a human being and tries to walk off, not before Colwyn tells him that the forest isn't safe. Urko, the little goose guy, tells Colwyn and narrator that he's too good to be traveling with them. It's like a class thing.
And I do not travel with peasants and beggars. Goodbye.
He bids the pair farewell. What do you want me to say to this? This film is a clusterfuck of then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. I don't have any side commentary for this. Urko goes into the forest, sees a Cyclops, and runs away. There, you know, that's it. He decides to travel with Colwyn and narrator because he's too scared. Then we get, like, glamour shots of the beast's headquarters moving, and there's another really odd scene with Lissa talking to the beast. Every time I see her, I genuinely can't recognize what's going on. You know those pictures that AI generate, but you can't actually recognize anything? Yeah, that's what this is. The beast implies she can go anywhere within the walls, and that she can never escape him. Meaning, she's already inside of him. I thought it was the other way around. Cut back to Colwyn and the gang, and we see the narrator leading them down a somewhat rough pass where there are robbers.
Robbers.
Man, we don't know yet whether they're
robbers.
Places that ugly could only belong to robbers.
They attack the gang, and we find out that the robbers are all escaped prisoners. Colwyn asks them to help him fight the Slayers and go to the headquarters. They don't really want to until they find out that Colwyn is a king and can undo their chains and fight for the freedom against the Slayer army. Also, the Cyclops has been following them for some reason. On their way to the Beast's headquarters, Urko finds
Gooseberries.
and he gets off of his horse to eat some bushberries. I think gooseberries. I think I might have actually just misheard it. On a side note, this movie has terrible audio mixing. The reason I don't know anyone's names is because I can't hear them speak properly. I can't hear them in like most of this movie. Urko gets off his horse to get some, and then a Slayer sees him and is about to alert the other Slayers. Because he apparently didn't see the entire army pass by a second ago, but he stopped from doing so by the Cyclops, who's been following them this entire time.
Gooseberries.
The Cyclops hides before anyone sees him, but narrator tells us that there's an ancient hatred between them. Ancient is a real buzzword in this movie, I'll tell you what. That long ago, Cyclopses made a deal with the Beast and gave up one of their eyes to be able to see the future. But the only future they can see is their own death, like in that Rick and Morty episode. So now that the Cyclopses are mad at the Slayers, they have become sworn enemies to kill on sight. Does this mean that Krull was invaded before by the Beast and his Slayers? Because if not, how is the Cyclops even here? If not, is there space travel in this fantasy movie? Either way, no one thinks to go and find the Cyclops and add them to the army. They just continue on their journey like nothing happened. I don't know how to segue into anything that happens in this movie. You know, they go to a rock with an old man and a little boy in it. Don't ask me to explain or elaborate because I have no idea what's going on. There's this old guy who can tell them where they can find the Beast headquarters. Ikor is really obnoxious in this scene, and he literally steals candy from a child.
Got any sugar balls?
No,
Gumdrops?
no.
What kind of boy are you? Boys always have candy.
Well, stick a hot dog down my pants and call me Kyle, because I always have candy too, man. The old guy levitates a green rock, and it shows a holographic picture of the headquarters, but then the rock explodes. It explodes because the Beast magically reaches up from somewhere and crushes it. So the old guy tells them that the Beast is too strong, but there is a place where his power can't reach, a swamp. They ask the old guy to go with them, and he agrees, and the entire group then travels to a swamp where there's a group of Slayers seemingly waiting for them. The Slayers attack really slowly, giving the group time to hide and draw their weapons. I know choreographing fighting scenes is really difficult, but the movie always feels like it's being like cropped in too far, and we're missing really important scenes in the movie, and there's a lot of shots of people just reacting to what's going on. It's hilarious. But they kill the Slayers and make friends with the Cyclops Krull, who's been following them. Finally. And then they all start to sink in quicksand. The old guy says it's the power of the Beast or something, and this guy throws a bag at Colwyn and then drowns in the quicksand. Then the old guy kills himself. No, really, he grows long fingernails and he like chokes out the real version. I can't say this with a straight face. While they're looking for the center of the swamp, the quicksand throws up the real old guy, and Krull, the Cyclops, sees this and makes a mad dash for the group. I know this sounds really odd and like I don't actually know what's going on, but I'm doing a scene-by-scene analysis here. Give me some slack. Krull runs to the group and kills the fake old guy. Now they're sad because they have no way of finding the Beast's headquarters, but then narrator says he knows another way, meaning that the entire sequence of scenes we just saw with the old guy in it doesn't actually matter and could be cut out of the movie entirely. Narrator makes vague comments about a girl that has great knowledge, so then they go to her so that she can tell them where the headquarters are. Here's a thought. Maybe wait for the place to teleport somewhere near you? While they're traveling, Urko turns himself into a puppy because the little boy said he wanted a puppy a few scenes ago. I guess this is supposed to be like a really big character moment for Urko since he's been such a dick for the last hour of this movie, but yeah, we're an hour in and we still have an hour to go. Narrator says he has to go on alone, leaving the gang behind for a moment. One of them mentions that he has a wife who can cook for all of them.
How many wives does he have?
About 7 or 8 at the last count.
So his wife shows up and like, you wouldn't think this scene is important, but the wife brings a girl whose village burned down. The wife had taken her in since she had nowhere else to go. This girl then tries to seduce Coldwin, you know, because the beast has magic that can do that. I got some magic of my own that can seduce people, I'll tell you what. While this is happening, the beast is also trying to seduce Lissa, saying he can turn into any form. There's a joke in here, I just know it. The beast shows Lissa that Colwyn is an unfaithful man, and that Lissa shouldn't love him. But chatty Colwyn isn't a cheater, he loves his girl Lissa. So then the beast tries to kill Colwyn or something, and this also fails, and then the beast just starts making threats instead.
Consider this power. If you consent to be my queen, I will halt the attacks of the Slayers. It is in your power to stop the killing and burning. Each hour you delay, more innocent people will be killed.
Wait a second! I'm just now realizing this! He said people didn't die! People didn't die every hour! He didn't even follow through on his threats! What?! Oh yeah, remember narrator? Yeah, he finally makes it to where he was going. It's like a place that's never seen a duster before, spiderwebs everywhere. Coraline had nothing on this bad boy, and he wants to come in.
Enter here and die.
So then the narrator enters, and a bunch of spiders come to attack him. Narrator calls out for her to stop the spiders, and all she does is stop them until the hourglass she has runs out. Why? Because the movie says so, that's why! So the spiders all stop, giving narrator enough time to make his way to the center of the cobweb bridge. It's revealed to us that the spider lady used to be his lover and that they had a son together that the narrator didn't know about. Doesn't matter though, because she killed him when he was born. Now her punishment is being ruler of the spiders. But through the power of forgiveness, he makes her pretty again. Doesn't that make perfect sense to you? No? Oh well. Because he forgives her for killing his son, making her young again, he asks where he can find the beast headquarters. She says no, cause then she'll turn old again and die, but then he convinces her to kill herself and she gives him magic sand that protects him from the giant spiders outside. I genuinely don't know how I can be explaining this further than what the movie and the Wikipedia did. So he needs to leave, and she was really happy about being pretty, and because he needs to leave though to go tell the rest of the gang where the headquarters is, she tells him that it's going to appear in the Iron Desert. He needs this sand that represents her life, so when he takes the sand, that means she's going to die, so her being pretty again doesn't matter. And she could have just told him and been ugly. Listen, it's just old and young. It's not actually young and pretty, but you know, the movie says pretty and ugly, and it's a thing. And so then she needs to, the sand going to keep him alive as long as he holds it. So then the spiders on the cobweb bridge aren't going to kill him, but he needs to hold the sand. So the narrator runs back to the group and tells them that the headquarters will appear in the Iron Desert, and then he drops the last of the sand and dies. You know, it's not like he had one job or anything. He should have just put it in his gloves. They were fingerless gloves, but like, y'all know that when you get sand in your clothing, it's impossible to get out. That guy would have lived for forever. What will we do without the narrator telling us what's going on? I was having a hard enough time as it is. Now there's no narrator? So now they need to figure out how to get to the headquarters quickly because the Iron Desert is 1,000 leagues from where they were. Rel the Cyclops tells them that they can just ride the fire mares, meaning that they're all girls, because they're fast or something. So then it turns into a cowboy movie and they wrangle horses into a valley with a dead end. They all manage to find a fire mare, and then the Cyclops Rel stays behind because he says it's his time to die or something. Remember, because Cyclopses can see their own death? So the rest of them head out, leaving Rel left behind to die. And we won't see his death or how he dies. The movie just decides to abandon our boy. But you know what we do see? Freaking speedy fire mares on a super cool green screen background. Look at how fast their hooves turn to fire. This is the coolest thing you've ever seen. They make it to the beast headquarters, and it's close to sunrise, meaning that they have to get inside of the castle before it teleports again. I mean, they couldn't have just been on the outside either, I guess. They start to climb the castle and try and get inside before the sun rises. Then Rel comes back, so I guess he was wrong about his death, making that entire scene we just saw useless. The Slayers start to open fire on the group, and this guy that looks like he was just picked up off the sidewalk the day of the shoot dies. Rel, the Cyclops, then starts to climb the tower, getting shot by the laser swords and having no emotion from getting critically wounded. He leads the group into the castle and holds the door open while everyone gets inside before the tower teleports. And then he dies, getting comically squished by a door. The group carries on, rushing into the castle headquarters, blindly dying in the funniest ways possible. Skyer even turns into a tiger! Coldwind says he needs to go in alone. Now Coldwind uses his fidget spinner. You remember that thing in the beginning of the movie? He's finally using it. Coldwind throws his fidget spinner at the wall. The fidget spinner starts to cut a hole in the wall and he's able to get to Lissa. Lissa tells Coldwind that he can't fight the beast in the center because he's too strong there. So he has to lead the beast away from the center of the headquarters that they're in. Then the center room breaks, revealing the beast, who, looks like a giant baby. And in the least epic finale battle imaginable, the fidget spinner pierces the beast, and it's killed. Then Colwyn tries to get the fidget spinner to come back to him, like how we all practice the Force when we're sitting home alone, but the fidget spinner doesn't come back to him. Dun dun dun! So Colwyn walks up to the beast to get it, and then the beast wakes up and tries to kill Colwyn, making Colwyn lose the fidget spinner entirely. Colwyn is a bit sad because he has no way to kill the beast anymore, but then Lissa tells Colwyn that he's been able to do it all along. Colwyn then comes to the conclusion that it's not him the beast can't defeat, it's their love. So it's here that I think they finish their wedding vows. Yeah, remember how she had fire in her hand during her vows? She transfers that fire to Colwyn, and he uses it as a flamethrower to fend off the beast's laser vomit. Yes, that is a real thing that happens in the movie. So Colwyn cooks the beast, finally defeating him. Couldn't Lissa have just done it all along? Like, she had the fire in her hand. Why didn't she just do it before? Also, at the same time, does this mean that everyone who gets married can just, like, have, like, fire, like a flamethrower in their hand? Or does that mean that, like, only the royalty can do it? Because I don't understand where this power comes from. Like, if the royalty could do it and that's what could, like, if all you needed to defeat the beast was fire, and I guess love, how come he hasn't been defeated? Like, there hasn't been a world before where there hasn't been fire or love? It doesn't matter because the castle thingy is now crumbling because the beast is dead. You know, making the castle an extension of himself or something. So the men who survived all now have to escape the crumbling tower before it collapses. Colwyn uses his newfound fire powers to burn a doorway into the headquarters, making a passage for them to be able to escape. Once they're out of the castle, it's revealed that it isn't collapsing, it's floating to the sky. What do you want from me? To be able to explain what's going on for you, you stupid goober? I'm just as confused as you are. So then they go on their way, with the narrator telling us that the prophecy will come true and that their son will rule the galaxy. I'm pretty sure this was a teaser for a sequel, but it never got made, thank goodness. So that was Krull. All I can say is that I'm sorry. It's such a confusing mess. I had to look up the Wikipedia as I was watching it to make sure I was actually understanding what was going on in the movie. And even the Wikipedia page sounded as confused as I was. That being said, Krull would be the perfect movie to watch with your friends when you're doing a few extracurricular activities. It's kind of an endearing mess that when you're done with it, you can watch it all over again because you forgot what happened. Yeah, I don't even know how to end this video other than just like apologies because, you know, now you guys know about it. But I don't know if I can say I liked it. I can just say it was a movie. Like and follow, subscribe if you want to see me lose my sanity more, and I promise I can find more of these movies. I can find more.